Hey, ready, steady, free-fromers. We are going to make granola. Now this is done in stages because it's a bit of a process and it takes a few days to make it. Don't be off-put by that because the end result is fantastic and most of the work isn't done by you, all right? Now you will need either an oven to dehydrate the food or you will need a dehydrator. So I have a dehydrator. It's not an expensive one. I think it was about £30 off of Amazon, and it works really, really well, and it's really invaluable for things like granola or for dehydrating fruit and vegetables. They store really, really well and for a long time. So we are making granola, and it is Against All Grains recipe with Danielle Walker. So I followed almost to the letter the recipe, so let's get on with it, shall we? Now then, you can see here I have nuts. So I have a combination here of almonds and cashews and walnuts. Now these have all been soaked for 24 hours. So I soaked them in filtered water for 24 hours and then I drained them, threw away the water and rinsed them, and then they've just been on some paper towel here to just absorb the rest of that water, and then I'm going to pop them into the food processor bowl. Now you can use a clean tea towel for this as well if you wanted to, instead of the paper towel, because it's just easier to transfer into, because you can kind of create a bit of a funnel. So let's just get this into the food processor now. I'm going to use the metal blade. So there we have it, all of the nuts, all the soaked nuts in there. Now we're going to add the ingredients that we've got left. There's not many. Well, it says 3/4 of a teaspoon. So I always worry because I don't measure. I always worry that I'm going to put a bit too much salt in. So I kind of err on the side of caution and go for about ½ teaspoon. Because it's just not good. If it's too salty, it's ruined. If you've not put enough salt in, it's not ruined. So err on the side of caution on that. With the nuts, by the way, you are supposed to soak them with 1 teaspoon of salt in. Now I will share the recipe at the end of this video for this mix, all right? So that's the salt in there and the almonds. Now in her recipe she does say put about sunflower seeds in. I haven't used sunflower seeds, so she uses 1 cup of almonds, 1 cup of walnuts, ½ cup of pecans and ½ cup of cashews. Now I didn't have any pecans, which is a real shame because I love pecans, so I've just used 1 cup of cashews. So 3 cups of nuts I think is fine, doesn't matter what the combination is. And then she adds 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds, so if you want to do that, go for it. Then there's 1 3/4 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon is for the soaking and the 3/4 is for this. Then we've got 3/4 of a cup of melted honey. Now I've just warmed this honey a little bit, so we'll just pop that across there. Then we've got 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, so I've melted that just to ensure the even distribution. Okay, then we've got 1 1/2 tablespoons, so yes, tablespoon of vanilla extract, because this is granola, it's a breakfast, so we want it to be quite sweet in flavour. So we've got 1 1/2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. I should have done the cinnamon first because the cinnamon's dry and the vanilla extract isn't. Okay, so let's just sprinkle that across. And then we've got ½ cup of shredded coconut. So we'll just sprinkle that all over. There we go. And then it says ½ cup of raisins, but we're not going to put those in until the end because we don't want to chop up the raisins. You might want to, but I don't want to. I want them whole in my breakfast. So now we're going to blitz this, and we're going to blitz it until it's about the size of oats. So we want to break it down quite a bit, but not into mush. There you have it. You can see that it's all kind of combined. Now, I don't know if you can see the texture there. So it's just little pieces of nut all chopped up. And so if you want it bigger pieces of nut, then that's your choice. You can blitz it for less time than this. But this will form like little clusters once it's dehydrated. So I did have to mix it around a few times. I had to blitz it, stir it, blitz it, stir it, just to get the big lumps of nuts moving around to the bottom. So now I'm going to spread it out onto the dehydrated tray. Here I have the dehydrated trays. They are round, and I've lined them with greaseproof paper, baking parchment, whatever you want to call it. I do use these quite a few times, so I don't throw away after the first use. I'm just going to sprinkle the mixture on this, and we're going to spread it across probably about 3 trays. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, then you can do this in the oven, and I will give you the instructions for that in just a moment. So I'm just going to put some onto the tray. I'm going to spread it out in a minute, so I'm not going to worry too much about what's going on there at the moment. Now, when this is cooking, dehydrating, whatever you want to call it, then it smells absolutely delicious. And don't worry too much about it, what it looks like now, because it's going to look quite different once it's finished. There'll be little sticky clusters that are just crunchy and beautiful. Be the best cereal you've ever had, and with a bit of fruit, oh my days, it's just summer in a bowl. There we go. So I've just spread it all around there, and that will go as it is. Okay, so we'll get the next tray. Now I will dehydrate this for 24 hours. So this is the 3rd tray, and it's obviously less on it than the other 2 because we've filled the other 2. Now you might be able to see that below the greaseproof paper is like a grid. I'll show you an empty tray. So you've got that normally, all right, and so the greaseproof stops it from dropping through the holes, and also stops it from sticking to this, because it'd just be an absolute nightmare. So you do really need the greaseproof or the parchment, okay? Now this takes 24 hours to dehydrate. So the temperature I'm going to put it on is 120 or 48. So whatever converts for your dehydrator, then that's what it will be. And once or twice during the process, open the dehydrator, take a tray out, kind of turn it over a bit, and then put it back, and I'll go through that process with you when we're doing it. So I'm going to put this in the dehydrator now. If you're doing it in the oven, the instructions are as follows. So you do the same, put it on the baking tray and with a baking sheet, all right? And you're going to need approximately 3 baking trays, okay, with that on it, and spread it out just like I have done on the dehydrator trays. Your oven needs to be set to 170 Fahrenheit, which is gas mark 3 or 325. You need to kind of leave the oven door open a crack, so maybe stick a wooden spoon in it so it doesn't close fully, just so that it doesn't overheat in there, because you don't want to be burning this granola, and you need to do that for 2 hours. After 2 hours, stir it like we're going to with the dehydrator. Just kind of poke it around the tray, move it around, and let it kind of circulate the air all around the different parts of the granola and the little clusters. So you do that after 2 hours in the oven at 170. After you've turned it all over once or twice, then for another hour it stays in the oven with the door ajar, and then you switch the oven off and leave it in there for another hour, again with the door ajar, okay, and then it should be complete. I've never done it in the oven, I've only done it in the dehydrator. So we're going to put it in the dehydrator now, and I will come back to you when I'm turning it over. So we're just going to turn around some of this granola that's dehydrating on the tray, and I'll show you how we do it. So it's all stuck to the tray. So all we're going to do now is just kind of break it up and move it around. Now this is where you get to decide how big the lumps of granola are that you want when you're ultimately eating this, because they do set quite hard. So I'm just going to go around all the tray, just breaking it up and moving it around, just so that it gets to dehydrate fully and be the size that I want it. And so I will probably do this once more. It's now, where are we, 12 o'clock. It's been dehydrating since 10 o'clock last night, and so that's 14 hours. So you can see it's all already getting quite firm and crunchy sounding, because you can hear it on the paper. So there we are. So I'm going to do this to all the 3 trays and then leave it to finish and take it off tonight. So here we are with the final part of the granola. We have the dehydrated nut mix, and we've also got some dehydrated fruit to mix with it. So let's have a look. Now this is the dehydrated nut mix, the nuts that we'd soaked and mixed with the ingredients that we did, the cinnamon and the honey, etc. And so I'm just going to show you there, you can hear it. Probably not a good example. I'm just choosing some of the bigger bits to kind of show you that they are crunchy. So I don't know if you heard that tiny little snap there, but they are crunchy. If when you've dehydrated them or taken them out of the oven, you move them and they're still a bit bendy, that means there's still some more moisture in there. So do them for another hour or two to get that crispy crunchiness, because that's what you want in your cereal bowl when you're going to eat this. I strongly advise not to just eat it as it is, so just to have it like a snack dry, because it's very addictive. And this takes quite a while to make, so it takes a couple of days to make this, and so it does take some effort in order to make it. It is very, very addictive as a snack, so I advise you not to do that. Don't eat it plain, because you just won't stop. So in a cereal bowl, now what I'm going to do is put it in a container that's an airtight container. So I'm just going to grab little handfuls of this and pop it into the container. And I'm going to alternate the granola with some dehydrated fruit. Now I've got dehydrated banana. Now this is quite bendy. It's quite difficult to get crispy dehydrated banana chips or fruit chips. The thinner you cut them, the more crispy they will be, but then they're also quite tricky and they break easily. I've got some dehydrated kiwi in there, again quite bendy. Even if you do it that it's crispy, they still bend when you put them in the milk, you know, when you put them in your cereal. So I've got dehydrated strawberry, so strawberry, kiwi, banana, and I've just got some other dried fruit in there as well that I've just bought. So I'm going to just sprinkle in layers, kind of a bit of that in there, and then alternate layers with the granola. Now I prefer more granola in my cereal bowl than I do dried fruit, so I put a few handfuls of granola and then a handful of dried fruit. So there you have a whole big container full of granola and dried fruit. and I've still got some leftovers, so I'm going to have to put those into a separate jar. It's a nice cereal breakfast in the summer, which is light and refreshing. Now you can have it with fresh fruit as well, so fresh strawberries, and that's what we're going to do for the taste test today. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this into the bowl, just to give you an idea. This is my second breakfast, so I won't make it very big. There we go, we just got a little bit of a combination of the dried fruit and the granola. And then I'm going to add in just one strawberry to add nice freshness and sweetness to it. It looks lovely. Then we're going to pour the cashew milk in. Look at that, looks great. So you've got a wonderful cereal here. It's well worth the effort, I can tell you. So let's do the cheeky taste test. So we've got a bit of strawberry, a bit of granola, a bit of banana, and some milk. The lovely sweetness of the strawberry. This fresh strawberry goes into the milk. It's kind of like a strawberry milkshake kind of feeling in your mouth. And then you've got the crunchy granola. It's just lovely. With the granola, you can taste the honey. You can really taste the vanilla and the cinnamon. So they're really good flavours that are coming through in that granola. Makes it something really special. So it's really worth, oh, and then I've got the chewy banana at the end there. That's nice. That's the thing about the softness of the dried fruit in the dehydrator. So it gives a nice chewiness. So there's lots of different textures in this bowl of cereal, and it makes it a real pleasure to enjoy. So when the hot summer days come and we're loving it and having breakfast outside, this is a perfect opportunity to enjoy the freshness of summer. So I really hope you give it a go and try and make this granola. It really is worth it. And if you want to like, subscribe or share this video, then go for it. And, you know, share what you've done and how you've got on. All right, so I'll see you next time in the kitchen.